And now it's time for the Ridiculist.
What kinds of things make people piss?
And how many suitors exactly has she dismissed?
Siri, what are some locations for a lover's tryst?
Oh, darling, surely there must be a list.
A list?
A list?
A list?
A list?
You're telling me it's all here on this bleeding list? That's preposterous and ludicrous.
Well, actually, it's all quite
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridiculous.
Welcome to The Ridiculist. I'm Sally Brooks.
And I'm Jen O'Neill, and we're back with more fun lists for you this week.
Hello,
How's
Jen.
it going, Sally?
Do I look different?
You look very famous.
Do I look like a published author?
Yeah, you look like a famous published author that's been book touring all over the world. You've been on a world tour.
I have been in the world, mostly Maine, but in the world, and Georgia.
Yeah.
That's two places, world tour.
That's pretty amazing. Those are some pretty great places to be.
Yeah, so as you guys already know, because I won't shut up about it, my book came out. When we're recording this, it was last week. Probably when you're hearing this 2 weeks ago. And we had a book launch party.
It was so fun.
And it was so fun. And Jen and we had like a little author talk. We sat at chairs and talked to each other like we were like sophisticated ladies, and nobody laughed. Like, I mean, they laughed, but they weren't
laughed
like
at everything I said.
They laughed at things I said, but I mean, they didn't. They weren't
Okay.
like, "Why are you guys sitting in those chairs acting like you're adults?"
They weren't laughing at us. They were laughing with us.
Yeah, I mean, we were killing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was super fun. I was really, I was blown away by just like all the people that came out, by everybody who like helped set up and helped do things. Friends showed up, but you guys had t-shirts made. My two really good comedian friends, Sam Evans and Alex Stone, flew in and surprised me from New York and LA. And just for the book launch, like, it was just, I don't know. I mean, I was like, I still am kind of like in awe. It just made me really feel like how much of a community we've built here. And I know that sounds sappy, but like, it's hard not to when you're like, oh my God, people are so nice.
You really have. And I think that speaks to you and Ben and Max as a family, is that like, you really have, in the short amount of time that you've lived in Georgia, like have such a great group of friends and a large, great, solid group of friends. Like, most people don't have that. Most people are terrible.
Most people are just such assholes, you know? No, it was very, I had shared this with you beforehand, but when I put out my first comedy album, I had just moved to New York. I was very pregnant. I didn't know anyone except for like other comics. And I decided to have a album release show. And so I invited all these like big name comics to be on this show. And nobody came. And it was winter. It was New York. It's like, now knowing like what I know now, I'm like, oh, of course. Like, what was I thinking? But it was devastating. And I was like so hesitant to do anything for this book release because of that. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I've really healed that inner little Sally.
Yeah, I love that. My favorite moment of the night, which I told you about later, my favorite moment was when...
Oh my gosh, yes.
So our friend Emily, who's she's a comedian, Emily Holden, her daughter, Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah, she's so cute. Her 11-year-old daughter wants to be a writer. She looks like a little Sally. She really does. Oh my God.
I was like, felt such a deep connection with her.
She was so
like,
cute.
I love you so much.
Yeah, she came to the book signing because she really was so like, you know, she wants to be a writer, and, you know, she like came with like such a like open eyes, open heart. Like, I want to learn. And she hung on to your every word, like during the discussion. And then when they were leaving, I was already outside. I think I was putting something in my car, and I was going back in, and they were leaving, and I was like, so what'd you think? Did you have a good time? To Maggie.
Yeah.
And she just had the biggest eyes, and she was just like, it was so inspiring. And it was just like, I was like, oh my God, like that was just the sweetest thing ever. And it's like, like you write this book, and you've gone, and it's for you, and it's for, Ben and your friend and Aaron and everybody, you know, but it's like, I don't, and I know that your goal was just to finish it, to write this book.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you're going to impact people in more ways than that.
Which is, it's like a friend of mine that wrote a book, her name's Gina Wagner. She wrote this, I've talked about her before, but she wrote this beautiful book called Forces of Nature. And she has talked about like, once you put a book out, it is now the readers, like it is theirs to like do with what they will and have their own experiences and decide what it is. And like, it is, I'm seeing that in kind of how people are talking to me about it and like their experiences with it. And it is really, it's just it's very wild. But yeah, so it was amazing. The book launch was it was just really great. My dad was there. He was so cute. He was like, just the proudest dad ever. And
I almost wanted to ask him, but I didn't know if it would be like appropriate or not, because there was only a couple questions I could ask in a short amount of time. But I almost wanted to turn to your dad and be like, what do you think about all of this? How proud are you right now?
Get a load of this.
I know. Look at her. Look at your girl.
Who's your dad? Can you believe this bitch?
She actually did something with her.
You said she wasn't going to mount to anything, and look at her now.
Look at her now, Dad. No, he's the sweetest man on the planet.
It was really nice to have him there, and it's just been. I mean, people have been just so kind and really positive about the whole thing. And then I got to the next day get on a plane, and I went to Maine. And got to do book signings, and my two best friends, Erin and Grace, were there. They flew out to Maine, and we did some hiking. We did some like book signings, and then did a little festival. And it was just like a perfect, like it was exactly what I needed after like how much work how much work I've put in, and just how like stressed I've been. We just like one day sat in a lake all day.
That's awesome.
Like the whole day. Like we put chairs in a lake, we had wine, and we just sat there. It was amazing. It was amazing. All right. Well, let's get to our list. I feel like I could go on and on, but
well, we're proud of you, Sally. And thank you for everyone who has reviewed on Amazon. Thank you so much for reviewing her book, and like, let's keep those reviews coming in, guys.
The reviews are, even if you haven't read it, I don't give a shit. It's like something like 50 reviews on Amazon is when they will start like pushing it out to other people. So it's like important to get to 50. I think I'm at about 30 right now. So if you have read it or want to read it, and even if you didn't buy it on Amazon, a review would be amazing. And one very last thing is just, Jen, thank you so much. You have been such an amazing supporter through all of this. I know. It's like jerk off motion. But so I said that I jokingly called Jen my stage mom, and one of our comedian friends was like, everybody needs a Jen. And I was like, yeah, I am so lucky because.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm very lucky to have you, but
you fucking are.
I will stage mom the shit out of you, Sally.
Yeah, I love it. I need it. Look at my girl. Look at my girl. Are you looking at her? Did you review her book?
I've been harassing everybody. Have you reviewed yet? Why haven't you reviewed yet? It takes 5 seconds. Just do it. Do it in front of me right now.
Get your phone out. Review this fucking book.
What's wrong with you? Yeah, when Sally was at 11 at one point, I mean, it's definitely like, of course, all the reviews are coming in, but it
Yeah.
was like, I just don't understand why we only have 11. And I'm saying we, like, I wrote the book too. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I know more than 11 people bought the book. I mean, but thank you guys for reviewing. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Me and my
'cause I
stage
had a
mom.
lot to do with the book. Okay. So yeah, let's get into our list.
Let's do it. Okay. All right, so I am going first this week. And I mean Ben found this list for me. But I do think it's appropriate. It's been a bit of a hard reentry to being back at work after everything. I'm like, oh right, I still have a job that I'm somehow supposed to do. So I found this list. Ben found this list on BuzzFeed. It is compiled by Brian Galindo, and it is 18 of the worst things employees say they've done on the job. And wow, there are some doozies. So
Oh God,
I am, I'm
Sure.
pretty excited about this. What immediately comes to mind, and this is not as bad as like, this is like a worst thing. It's more like the most disgusting thing is that like when I was a server, we would like eat food off of
off of plates
that were like
that
left
are
on
going
tables.
out or coming back in.
No, coming back in, which I think
So,
is
like, that's worse.
oh yeah, so much worse. It's so disgusting. But like, you know what? When you're a
I
waitress,
get it, I
like
get it.
you have zero time, and you're just like, I'm so starving, and I know those people did not touch those chips and
Touch those
queso.
French fries. Yeah.
We would take when I worked at a Mexican restaurant, we would take the queso, and we would just like we had like a bowl, like a communal bowl that we would pour in.
The extra
And then everybody,
queso.
the extra queso, and then everybody would just like pull out the fresh chips and eat the queso in the back.
That would never fly in a post-COVID world.
No
way.
No, it's so gross.
Oh my God.
It's so gross. One time, I tipped over like a whole cup of ranch on a girl's head.
On purpose?
No. I was like,
Okay.
it was one of those restaurants where you had to like carry the big tray.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just like, I was taking things off and people were behind me in a booth and it tipped like a little bit and like a whole thing
Oh man.
just right down her head. And she was cool about it. I was like,
think the worst thing I did, and I think I'm fine with admitting to it now, is
Yeah.
I used to manage a boutique when I was 19.
Mhm.
And this was so long ago, but the owners of the boutique lived in another state. And so they had built one of those like Murphy beds into
Yeah.
the office so that they could stay there when they were in town, so they didn't have to rent a hotel.
Mhm.
So me and my friend Danielle, who also worked there, we would come in hungover as fuck, because we would go out like all the time. And so we would take turns like napping in the bed. And so like we basically were just like, all right, well, you sleep from, 9 to noon and then we'll eat lunch. And then you take the 1 to 5 shift of sleeping.
Oh my God, that's so
We did that.
beautiful.
Like,
What did they think was happening?
But I wonder, like, and then like, it's funny because like times have changed, but I always wondered, I'm like, were we so stupid to think that there weren't any cameras in that store? You know what I mean? Like, there
I
had
don't
to
know
have
that
been.
there were
Maybe
cameras
not.
the same way that there are now.
But
Like now I would just assume they're everywhere, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I worked at Express and we did not have cameras. And I know that because people stole from us every day.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were like in a very like high traffic, high theft mall. And we would find like we had to like tag every single thing. Every single item had to be like security tagged. And we would just find piles and piles of them inside the rounds
just
at the end of the day.
ripped off. Yeah.
Just people, they would like have the things to take them off and just,
That's known in the biz as shrink.
Oh, really?
The term for like how much stuff got stolen from you, that term is called shrink. Like what's
we had
shrink
big
percentage?
Shrink. We had
big shrink. Big shrink.
Big shrink. Okay. Okay, so this is, here we go. Working on a building site during the initial strip out phase, I needed to use the toilet. Went for a crap, hip. God, why is it always poop? And I am not squeamed out by that, but like, okay. Went for a crap, hit the flush, and returned to the site office only to hear yelling from downstairs. The plumber we'd contracted was standing in a puddle holding the soil pipe he was disconnecting and had poop on him and the floor. No one had thought to put up a sign not to use the main toilets. So basically, crapped on the plumber at work.
Oh my God.
Oh my
I
God.
wonder how often that happens to plumbers.
Do you feel, I mean, I feel like I would have to be like, I'm leaving and never coming back. Like that would be like, I could not show my face again on that job site.
Yeah. I don't think I could, like, wait, if you're the one that got crapped on?
No, if you're the one that crapped
Yeah.
on someone.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I would never come back. And then if I was the one that got crapped on, I feel like I would have to like shave my head and eyebrows, pull out all of my eyelashes, and burn my skin. Like super like laser my skin until it all burnt off and I got all new skin. I don't know how to come back from that.
I don't know how you come back from that either. I mean, I would, this is 100% honest. If it was not apparent it was me, I would not cop to that. I would be like, oh my God, that's awful. That's so awful that happened to you. I wonder who did that. I would never admit, I would take that one to my grave. I would never admit to that.
You'd kind of have to, yeah.
Okay, so this one said, I accidentally outed a guy who was cheating when his wife called in his meds and I asked if he also needed his Viagra filled. Apparently, she wasn't the one benefiting from it. I was a newbie in the pharmacy and felt moderately bad about it. I mean, I guess I would not feel bad about that. And also,
I wouldn't either. That's I guess that guy.
That's on that guy. Also, like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
But I wouldn't audibly ask anyone if they needed any kind of thing refilled without them asking for it, because it's like other people could hear. I just wouldn't. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want somebody being like, do you need your fungal cream? I don't need fungal cream, you guys. I'm just saying. Like, I just.
Do you need your wart remover?
Like, I just don't think you should, like, and say that out loud.
No,
you write it on a piece of paper, you slip it to them, and it's like,
and be like,
need that Viagra?
I feel like the pharmacists, or at least the pharmacy techs at my pharmacy, they don't care about anybody's business. They're just like,
oh really?
Out loud, do you need this? Do you need that? Are you here for these? I mean, two things. Luckily, I'm like, I have no shame about medications I'm taking, but also like, I feel like
that's a little jarring. Yeah.
A little jarring to be loud in front of the whole grocery store. I don't need everybody to know about my fungal cream. Okay, one of my roommates told me this story. He was working at the parking garage in Universal Studios, Florida during the peak of summer. He got bored with his coworkers and at the start of the day decided to direct every single white-colored car to the third floor garage. By the end of the afternoon, the entire third floor was a sea of white car. The next
oh my God, I kind of love that.
I know, was pissed as shit because they had to work extra hours since people were having a hard time finding their cars.
Oh my God, I kind of love that.
I mean, that's just like harmless and hilarious.
It's just like he made a game out of his work, when I was a phone bitch at Papa John's, that was the name that they called us. They called us phone bitches.
I was also a phone bitch at Papa John's.
Yeah. And I worked with my best friend Patrick, and we would just speak in different accents.
Did we talk
to make
about this?
each other laugh?
So did we. Yes,
so.
My friend B and I used to be like see how many accents we could do a night.
Yeah, and
like,
that's just how we made the job fun. Yes. Yeah, so like I feel like the whole idea of like color coding each floor, I think is amazing. I love this person.
I think that's so funny. This didn't trigger that, but I did remember that when I was a summer camp counselor, and maybe this is the worst thing I ever did at work. We used to like on our nights off, but like while we were still on camp property, we would go to like the riflery range and just get high, so high, so high, and then go back to our cabins with kids or drunk, like just wasted. And then
Is the riflery range a gun range?
yeah, they had like they would have kids like shoot right. I mean, they were like blanks, but yeah, BB guns.
Oh,
maybe. Yeah,
weird.
there was like I don't know if that's still a thing at summer camp, but when I was,
I hope not.
I hope not too. So that might be the worst thing, just because I was in charge of people's children, and I was like, see ya. I'm gonna go get high and make out with this guy from London.
Listen, if I'm dropping my kids off at a summer camp, I'm assuming the counselors are all high or drunk.
And the counselors are like
assuming.
19 years old. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this next one says, I'm a server and I had this table full of really mean women. They talked down to me the entire time and basically treated me subhuman. One of them wanted their food in a box, and while I was bitching about them in the back, I accidentally threw out her food. After the other server walked away, I scooped her sandwich out of the trash, put it in a to-go container, and brought it back out to her. I felt like a huge bitch, but I don't really regret it too terribly much. I find that 100% reasonable. I find that
Me
to
too. That's why I don't fuck with servers.
No,
Be nice to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is like that's the nicer thing, on the nicer side of things.
Sure.
Okay. I worked at a vegetarian restaurant in college. There were vegan options upon request. A couple of times I would get a vegan customer who would be rude or mean. If that happened, I just wouldn't mark that the meal needed to be vegan. Then I'd get, this is the best dish I've ever had. Well, yeah, because it has animal fat in it. I have a hard time with that one. I'm like, again, don't be mean to servers, but also I feel like that one is like,
there could be a reason that it could not, like they could be allergic, you know what I mean? Or there could be other reasons that they're vegan.
But also don't be rude to servers.
Yeah, just don't be rude.
Just don't be rude. No, just servers. Everybody else is fine. I was G-chatting with my wife and told her that there is a dress that makes her cleavage pop out like crazy, except I had accidentally clicked my boss's name and sent the message to her instead. Almost immediately, she turned around and says, what? Awkward conversation ensued, but we all got a good joke out of it.
Oh no, that happened too. I don't want to say who it is, but it was an ex-boyfriend was on a business trip and went out with his boss. And then the next day he got text message, or that later that night in the middle of the night, he got text message that was like, I miss you so much, baby. I can't wait to come home and see you, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, is that for me? And it was like, he meant to send it to his girlfriend, but he sent it to this person instead. I just thought that was really funny.
Oh, that's classic. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Working in a ticket sales booth at Six Flags, maybe you'll relate to this one. Not that you worked in the ticket sales booth, but you did work at Six Flags, right?
Right.
They left
as
me
a
there.
Performer.
As a performer.
As an artiste.
You were talent.
Give
this
me
guy
a
was a
break.
scrub.
I was the talent. Yeah.
You were the talent in the House of Horrors.
Right. I was the character, the general character in the haunted house / dancing zombie.
Dancing zombie. Oh, I wish. Could you at some point please do the zombie dance? Is that Thriller? Was that the zombie dance?
Thriller. It's just a more compounded, compact thriller dance that you can, yeah.
That Jen still does bust out sometimes. Of
course.
Obviously, if you have a talent, why would you not?
I actually had when I got married, I had a bunch of like, do not play under any circumstances. Do not play this song. And I told him, do not play Thriller because I will not do Thriller in my wedding dress, because that was a party trick for many years. People would always put on Thriller and wait for drunk Jen to come out into the dance floor and do the entire Thriller dance, which I happily did. But I was like, I will not do it on my wedding day in this wedding dress. And so I was like, you cannot play that song and you can't play Bird is the Word. I fucking hate that song. And
because
if they didn't fucking play that song,
yeah,
like
of course they
even
did.
though I said I don't want this song played, my ex-husband did it anyway.
Mm.
That should have been red flag.
That
number
should have been. You should have walked out right then.
I know.
Why'd you leave? Bird's
Oh.
word. I told him no.
Yeah, fucking hate that song.
Working in a ticket sales booth at Six Flags, they left me there for 8 hours despite my having to pee for the last 5 of them. Finally, I peed in the vacuum tube, the pneumatic tube, which takes the money up to the counting room. At the end of the day, people were wondering about the tiny droplets on all the canisters.
Ew! Oh my god! Okay, I can see like peeing in a Coke bottle, like, peeing in a can, like, or
The
like
trash
peeing in
can.
the corner or something. But like peeing in the vacuum that takes all the money, like that's so fucked up.
It's so fucked
That's
up
on its
because
own another level.
yes, because you are fucking your coworkers, and that is like that's the worst. You cannot do that. You like do higher ups, yes. Customers who are rude, yes. But you cannot do that to other people who are just like, you know, working stiffs like you. That's not.
Yeah, I can't get
acceptable.
behind this one.
Yeah. All right, I'll just do a couple more. Okay, at work we communicated through Skype. There was a coworker I kind of flirted with. We would ask each other questions and the other person had to answer honestly. I asked the guy whether he had chest hair, but instead of sending it to him, I sent it to my boss. Fortunately, my boss laughed it off and told me to go back to work. I still cringe at the memory.
Oh, that's funny.
This is why you can't be flirty with people at work on your Slack channels. Now that like the job I work at is like IT adjacent, like I'm not in IT, but I like manage someone who is in charge of all of our email. And like we could see everybody's emails. Like we don't,
Wow.
but we could. We don't, but we could. And I'm just like, don't ever put anything on your work email, on your work phone, on your work, like, even if it's like GChat, whatever, like, do not ever put anything you don't want your boss to read.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. Okay. I was working at an extremely busy gas station with a line out the door. The woman came in going right to the front asking for directions. I said I would be glad to help her, but let me get through these paying customers first. I was the only one there, and this was before Google Maps. Well, she would not stop yelling about it and interrupting. So finally I asked where she was going. She said the name of a mall that was literally down the street. I gave her directions to another mall 20 minutes away. And that is karma. That's karma.
That's so funny. Yeah.
And just chef's kiss. Nobody's hurt.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's perfect. I think what we've learned is that like everybody makes mistakes at work, and also don't mess with service people because they hold a lot of power and they will be petty because they don't get paid enough. So,
I mean, I just like in general, like, you know, in property management too, it's always funny to me that it's like the people that come to me with guns blazing and yelling at me, and you're like,
yeah,
you know that I decide like what your rent's going to be next time your renewal comes, right? Like, you know,
Right?
I'm going to decide like if you're going to like, if we're going to renew with you or not. So why are you think you like, you know what I mean? And so it's just like you catch more flies with honey. And I don't know. It's just like, it boggles my mind that people don't understand that to this day.
It is so crazy. And yeah, and the like I also control like who a service person goes out to see first. Like, I'm not going to not have them come out, but if there was somebody in front of you, I certainly would think about the person who's being nicer to me.
Yeah,
like,
if you want to get something done quicker, like, you know, I'd be more attentive to the person that's really sweet and really nice rather than like, you know, yelling at me. Anyway, or calling me a shithead.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
I can say it now because that guy finally moved out, but the one that like almost like gave the entire building carbon monoxide poisoning, also called me a shithead one time.
A shithead, she says.
While I was trying to help him get his heater fixed. Anyway.
You're like, what are you, 10?
Yeah, I know. So,
A
yeah,
shithead?
I am a shithead. Yeah. Sir, I understand. I agree with you. I'm very shitty. I am a shithead. Yes, sir.
I hear you. I will work on that.
Anyway, oh God. Okay, well, my list this week is something a little different. Um, I think we did a list recently about like, signs you're getting older or
Yeah.
whatever, but this one just kind of made me laugh because this is a BuzzFeed article by Claudia Santos. And it is, my dad will never give this up. These 20 boomer trends are predicted to vanish. And as a millennial, I find these things really weird. So these are things that like, our parents would have done. Like their trends. Number one, formal living rooms. Like, and this is such a boomer thing because they had so much
Yes.
more money back then and everything was bigger and grander. And it's like, I remember like did you have a room that you weren't allowed to go inside?
Yeah, we sure did. We had a formal living room and a formal
Yeah.
dining room, and we never used either. Really, we were all in like a family room in the back. And this is also in the Midwest, where like, and houses are bigger than they are here.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it was always clean. It
Yeah.
was like where our fancy stuff was. There was no TV. It was just
Right. Like we had a formal living room, but like my parents weren't that crazy about like if we went in the room or not.
yeah.
But I had my best friend, Melissa, her mom was like crazy about this room,
Mm.
and it was the formal living room. And I remember we would have to unstep the carpet. If you walked into that room, you're not allowed to walk out of it until you unstep the carpet with this unstepper, which was basically like a Bissell, and where you just roll it over the carpet so that you don't see footsteps. Like it was like that, to that level of formal living room.
That's so, it's like, who's it for?
bananas.
The fucking queen coming over? Like, what?
I know. This one says not listing the salary on a job posting. I mean, I think a lot of people still don't do that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't do that. I have noticed that.
Yeah. And number 3, this is the same thing as in the same vein as the fancy living rooms, is fancy unused china sets. You know how it's like when you got married, everybody's like, well, you have to pick your china set and then your everyday plates. And I'm like,
Yeah.
but for why? Like,
Why?
why do we need, these? And now I do think china sets are really pretty. Like,
Mhm.
I know Zach's grandmother had this one that I thought was just so beautiful, like pretty, but it's like, but I don't want it because where am I going to put it? I'll never use it.
No.
You know?
We didn't. We got like a dish set from Target, and then registered for stuff from REI.
Yeah.
That was like, oh yeah.
Well, this person here wrote under that, as she said, I inherited my grandmother's Wedgwood china, plain white set. I moved that shit with me for a decade. After my divorce, I made it my daily use. They survived the dishwasher just fine. I use the teacups for snack bowls. I love that. I love like the whole notion of like, use the plates, burn the good candles, drink the good wine, because otherwise it's just going to go to waste and then it serves no purpose.
Yeah. I think I've like talked about this before, but when my mom was in the hospital, she was like so adamant. Like she knew she was going to die. So that's a little sad. Very sad. But she kept telling me like, make sure you get the blue china. My brother Keith he really wants the pink china. So make sure you get the blue china and Keith gets the pink china. I was like, okay, Mom, I promise that will happen.
Mm-hmm.
And then after she died, I was like, Keith, I know you really want this pink china. He was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I've never even seen that pink china. But she was like, so adamant. Like, so like, this is his bequest. And he will be so mad if he doesn't get it. And I was like, that's weird.
He probably just like one time like sipped out of it and was like, nice.
Nice.
And then she's like, he loves this china. He's obsessed with this china.
He is obsessed. I mean, I can't think like his house, I mean, he's very minimalist. Like his house is very like minimalist and I mean, this china has no place in it. It's just very funny. It's so funny because he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't know, but you're
That's
taking
hilarious.
it.
It's your china now. That's so funny. This one says text messages and Facebook posts in all caps. And then this person wrote underneath it in all caps, Grandpa died, LOL. No matter how many times I tell my aunt that it doesn't mean lots of love. That's so funny.
I love it.
My dad the other day. Sorry, Dad. I think he listens to this podcast now. He wrote like just a person's name, and I can't remember who the name was, but like my dad never posts on Facebook ever.
Yeah.
And I was scrolling through Facebook and it said like Tom O'Neill, and then it said like Ernest Billingham. I can't remember what the name was. And I was just like, what is it? And so I like texted it to my mom and I was like, who's this guy? And she was like, oh, I think like what happened was this guy like wrote something political. And then my mom said that my dad was like going back and forth of like whether or not my dad is a Democrat. God bless him for being a Democrat. I love that. That's like the thing that I'm like, well, at least my dad's not a Democrat. Or he's not a Republican. Sorry, Republicans. But anyway, but he has a lot of conservative friends and a lot of Republican friends, and he gets so, but he gets so heated.
Yeah.
And so apparently somebody posted something and he was like really heated about it and then tried to figure out if he should like respond or not.
Yeah.
And then I think maybe he tried to find that post or not to respond. Yeah. And I think he just like entered the person's name like it was going to be in the search button.
Oh.
And then like just like hit post.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that. And I can't remember what it was. It was like something very embarrassing like that. Like, God, I can't remember what it was, but it was something where I thought I was searching, but I just posted the thing of it. And I was like, well, I guess everybody knows now.
Oh my God. Just this morning, somebody texted me something annoying. I'm not gonna like say what it is. And it wasn't a personal thing. It was like a work thing. Somebody posted me something annoying, and then and I'm not gonna say which job it was because I have many. And I responded, and then under my breath, I was like, "You little twat" or something like that. I said that to myself, and then I looked down and I realized I auto recorded it or whatever, and I was so nervous to like press the right like X. I was like, please don't hit time, please don't hit time. It was like I was like doing like surgery. It was like a game of operation of like, please. Don't send, you little twat. I did remember that time. Sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but there was a time where Sally and I were interviewed for something, and the interviewer wrote it like the story that they wrote about me and Sally. It was like weird and it was jumbled, and they took two of our different personal stories and combined them in one sentence to where it sounded really actually kind of like insensitive.
Yeah.
It was like on one hand talking about like Sally's mother passing away, and then the other hand like me getting a divorce or something. I can't remember.
I can't remember what it was, but yeah. It was like
but Sally and I were texting back and forth like, I hate that this happened. I hate that he wrote it like this. Da, 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 da. And then I said like, it just sounds like it said blah, 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 blah. And then I texted it to the writer and not to Sally. And then I was like, LOL, am I right? Just kidding, but do whatever you think because you're such a good writer and I'm just being silly. And I was like on fire, like that like panic of like, oh my, how do I save this? How do I come back for it? I think it all went over okay. We were never interviewed by this person again, but it was God, that was such a like old lady.
Can I take it back? I guess it's out there.
I can't. Oh
my God.
You little twat.
You little twat. Which is the best insult, I will say. That's absolutely.
Okay, this one says number 5 is porcelain figurine collections. Yes, like, and that's
Yeah.
another. I think that's such a boomer thing too, because like people had money for that shit. Like
Yeah.
they had so much money that they were just like buying, like collecting little figurines that were expensive, and like Fabergé eggs and whatever the fuck,
Yeah.
precious moments, whatever.
Yeah. My grandma loved that shit.
Yeah. Number 6 is timeshares. That's pretty funny. Like I know Dustin owns a timeshare.
Does he? My
Mhm.
brother owns a timeshare. But I think it's one of those where like it like you can go anywhere, so it's like through a group, so you can kind of use it for places. I don't know.
Yeah.
My dad had one and like couldn't get rid of it for years. Years. I also remember this was a boyfriend that I had in college and somehow he got like a free weekend vacation to Wisconsin Dells, which is like the Dollywood of Wisconsin.
Oh.
If we would go on a like go see
Timeshare tour.
timeshare tour.
Yeah.
And we were like 22. Like we were
Mhm.
obviously not buying into a timeshare. And I like in this place in Wisconsin, they would give you like every drink you got, they would give you 2 drinks. So it'd be like, you
Oh,
get
wow.
a beer and they give you 2 beers. And so the night before we were supposed to go on this thing, I got so drunk that I was so hungover I could not go. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be throwing up on this tour. So he had to go by himself.
Aw.
And he kept having me be like, my wife is ill.
I did that with my friend Seth. We pretended to be engaged.
Yeah.
And on a timeshare tour for free tickets to Universal Studios. And we were like, under no circumstances do we buy anything. We're not buying anything. Like, this is like, we're just getting the free tickets. And we did the whole tour. And then they kept coming back with us. Like, they're like, it's for just $200 a month. And we're like, sorry, we can't afford that. And then they'd come back and be like, okay. $150 a month. They're like, sorry, can't afford that. And then they came back again. And I remember the final one. He's like, $13 a month. Can you do $13 a month? And we were like, nope, sorry. Can't you? And but inside I was like, can we? But but I was like, sorry, again. He was like, you can't do $13 a month. Here's your free tickets. Get the fuck out. Like, he was so visibly mad at us.
Yeah.
So we're like, what? Do not expect that. I mean, that's what it's for.
Like it has to be most people are saying no, right? It's like you can't offer free trips and then be like, hey, no obligation. You got it.
I know. Okay, this says the obsession with work, although I think it's going to get more complicated now. I guess then underneath it says, sorry, Ruth is breaking.
Ruth.
It says, what I find older managers don't understand is there's no incentive to bust your ass right now. They could work 40 hours and afford a house. I worked 80 and I could just barely afford the smallest house on the market. After 2020, I don't know how any middle class person will ever afford a house. So you can work the bare minimum and never afford a high standard of living, or you can work yourself to death and not afford a high standard of living. Seems like an easy choice. That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, why would you work harder? Because we're chasing like being able to barely pay our rent. It's crazy. Or mortgages or whatever. Or like, yeah, like how can anybody, like sometimes I'm lucky, I'm very lucky because I bought my house a long time ago when things were affordable. But sometimes I'm like, who are all these people that have $800,000? Where are these people?
What jobs do they have?
Like how, I know, it's crazy. Balancing a checkbook. I'm gonna be honest with you. I never balance my checkbook. I write the checks and then, let it go.
Yeah.
I've never used that ledger in my life. Number 14 is I hate my wife humor. Yeah, that's true. People don't really like that. People will still tolerate a little bit of the like I hate my husband humor.
Yeah.
But people definitely won't tolerate I hate my wife humor. It is not
It's very
PC. Yeah.
Well, it depends where you're at.
Yeah.
Some places they're still thriving, but yeah, for the most part. And it's funny because it's like that was bread and butter when I started comedy. That was like what people
Yeah.
were doing. The very like, I mean, racial stereotypes were very much still like sexist stereotypes were very much still tolerated and applauded, and people. And then it really shifted, which is, amazing to see.
Yeah, it is amazing. But I had to throw away a lot of material. Let's just say that. I'll just do one more, and that is salads whose primary ingredient is Jello and or whipped cream.
Yeah.
I will. This one says, my husband is 41 and still insists on making his mom's carrot salad at Christmas every year. It's orange Jello with carrot sticks and pineapple chunks. He's the only one who eats it. His mom doesn't even make it anymore. That was a thing that when I moved to the South, I was like, what? Like, you're calling mac and cheese a vegetable? Like, you're what? Like, this is marshmallow salad? Like, what the fuck? Like, we didn't have that where I grew up, but it was just like, that stuff is so disgusting to me.
It's so, I mean, it was not something that I had growing up, but it was something that my mom would make on holidays because she's from the South. And so she would, bust
thing.
out all of that stuff. And we'd be like, what is this? Nobody wants this. But
now
she still insisted.
I have seen people do these parties where it's like bake a dish from a 1950s cookbook thing. And that I think would be really fun.
I think that would be fun. Some of my coworkers did that we're doing that every Christmas. And so they would pick a new era and then they would have to dress like the era, and everybody brought a dish from the cookbook. And I think that's great.
That's cool. We should get that going.
Let's get that going.
Like that. Let's do it. I'll make a pimento loaf.
Right? I'll do a Jello
vlog.
Mold. I don't give a shit.
Yeah. All right. Should we get into our list this week?
Let's do it.
This week, our lists are, it's fall time. It's about to be fall. All the pumpkin stuff is at Trader Joe's. And I have to tell you, I get really annoyed with the whole, like, I feel like most fall things people love because they're just great. Yeah. But then it's like, if you like anything that's from the fall, you're a basic bitch.
Yeah.
And I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe to that. So this list is basic bitch things that are considered basic bitch things that we do not apologize for at all. We like them because we're human beings.
We like them, and
feelings and emotions
are not sorry.
And taste. We're not sorry. I'll start. My number 5 is being cold and talking about it. I'm always cold and I don't apologize for that. And I like sweaters. I like warm blankets. I like hoodies.
Being cozy.
I want to be cozy and I'm not going to apologize for it. Okay?
Nor should you.
Yeah.
Nor should you.
Okay.
Okay. My number 5 thing that I love is charcuterie. A charcuterie board, and I like calling it charcutes, and I'm not going to apologize for it because it's delicious and I will have it.
Oh yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
My number 4 is candles. I love candles.
You burn your candles.
A candle in every room if I feel like it.
Smell nice in that house.
And if I go to Target, I'm going to smell at least 30 candles before I leave. And you can fuck right off.
You can fuck right off if you care.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay. My number 4 thing is rosé. And I will rosé all day. And I don't give a shit. It's delicious.
Good for you. Good for you.
Good for me.
I will actually, I'll move to piggyback off that. I'll move mine down a notch. And I'm going to say wine. Yeah. Obviously, I like wine. I'm a mom and I drink wine. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't mean I'm a mommy wine time. I just happen to be a mother who also loves wine. And you know what? I don't hate a buttery Chardonnay. Okay. Especially in the fall.
And you know what? I will drink a Merlot because sometimes it's nice and complex. And I'm not going to.
is delicious. And
I'm not gonna be
it got a
upset.
bad name because some people watched one movie about wine and then they think they're fucking experts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dicks.
So Merlot. Okay. What's your next one?
Okay. My number 3 is TikTok. I like it. I'm sorry. It's not great. I mean, it's
Wow.
social media, but I'm not going to be sorry that I enjoy watching TikToks sometimes. I'm learning a lot. And
That's okay.
So there.
That's your journey. And
That's my
support you.
journey. Thank you
Mhm. Okay.
very much.
My number 2, this is also fall related and it gets a lot of shit, but I don't give a fuck.
No, you
It's
don't.
pumpkin flavored stuff.
Yeah.
I'll eat pumpkin pancakes. I'll eat pumpkin muffins. I just ordered pumpkin espresso pods. And what the fuck are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Nothing.
All right?
You're going to look me in the face and you're going to admit that it's fucking delicious. That's why people love it.
People like it for a reason. There's a reason Trader Joe's, their whole empire is supported by the love of pumpkin shit. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm not going to feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad about it. All right. Well, here's something that I didn't realize I was into, but now that I have this like art shed that I'm like decorating, I am like looking at like posters and prints, and I realize that I like a fucking saying print. I like a thing with a saying.
You like a live, laugh, love.
Not
You
a live,
like
laugh, love. I do not like. Okay, let's take up this step back. Let's not. Okay, I'm not a boomer.
You like a breathe.
I like a oh hi, or like a let's make better mistakes tomorrow, or something fucking like that. I like them when they're a cute font.
Okay.
I like it. I like it. I like one. I bought one that says like, let's root for each other and watch each other grow. And it's a really cute little plant. And I thought that's
adorable.
it's adorable. It's
You know
adorable.
what?
And you know what?
hang it up.
I'm going to fucking hang it up and I'm going to look at it and I'm going to be happy. And you guys
your
can
tiny
fuck right
house.
off.
Exactly. My number 1 is yoga, meditating, talking about the universe, and wearing yoga clothes all in one. Okay? Sound
Okay.
baths. I love them. And I'm not going to apologize for it. Will I be in yoga pants all day long on a Sunday? Yes.
Why not?
What's wrong
They're
with that?
comfortable.
Exactly.
And you look great in them. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. It's because of
I
all that
appreciate
yoga and meditation.
Exactly. Mhm. And meditation and bathing in sound.
And bathing in sound.
Specifically. Yes.
Okay, that's very funny because my number 1 is making vision boards and tarot card
Ooh.
readings and
Mhm.
moon shit and all of those things. And
Mercury
I think
and
that's
retrograde.
whatever, man. I'm
Oh,
here
yeah.
for it. And I'm not
Mhm.
going to fucking apologize because it's fun to do and it's nice to think about. And it's nice to think there's something else in charge of us and these forces at play. And I'm not going to apologize for it.
I don't want you to. Good.
Good. Well, I'm glad we got that off our chest because I feel like some people
That
were
was
coming.
cathartic. Oh my God.
I highly recommend finding a friend and just shouting your lists at each other. That was real fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I feel really good. I'm going to like immediately go outside in yoga pants and drink a latte while wrapped in a cozy sweater, motherfuckers.
Yes. I don't
Mhm.
give a shit that it's 90 degrees out.
I know.
I'm cold
It's hot
and I'm going to
today.
talk about
I'm
it.
freezing and I love it.
I love it. All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much for listening. You can find us Instagram at The Ridiculous Pod, on TikTok at The Ridiculous Podcast. You could rate and review, tell a friend. We would love that.
We would love that so much. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for everyone that came out to the book signing, and thank you for everybody
Yes.
that bought a copy of Sally's book. Thank you guys for sharing the podcast. We love you so much, and we'll be back next week on The Ridiculist.
Ridiculous, ridiculous, ridic. You.